Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. I know that it's been a while and I haven't been here in a minute, but I wanted to come back to kind of like open up a new category that I wanted to talk about, and I think it's going to be something that y'all are going to enjoy. So anyway, let's get right into it. I really wanted to talk about basically the animes that came out almost a decade ago, which if they had to come out now would actually be dominating the charts. And there are so many animes out here now that I honestly couldn't even give you the time or day about because I don't care about them. They are that uninteresting to me. There are animes back from like the early 2000s or the middle 2000s that honestly I feel like never got the recognition that they deserved, and they actually fell to the wayside. But I'm here to tell you now that these animes that I'm going to talk to you about, if they were to come out now, they actually would be dominating the charts, and you guys would have not wanted to miss these.
You think I'm scared of some loudmouth dickwad like you after the shit I've seen? So if you're going to kill me, stop wasting my damn time and do it. Because while I'm breathing, this place and its rules can suck my dick!
One that I wanted to get into was Man Wonderland. The reason being is because when it came out, I don't really think many people were expecting it to hit as hard as it did. A general overview that I would tell people about this anime is that it's kind of like where if you were to watch Death Parade or High Rise Invasion, it's basically those animes, but those I feel like are modern as opposed to Man Wonderland is very unique in how it delivers its substance. I feel like that is what these animes these days are missing, is substance. High Rise Invasion, this is not like me venting about how much I dislike that anime, but mostly just about how like I feel like High Rise Invasion just failed in the concept of, you know, it's about random people killing random people, and it's about some kind of app in a game, which is, you know, in this day and age, that is something that is very modern because we as a new age, we use like technology more than we would have used it 10 years ago. I understand that. But what I don't like about High Rise Invasion is that it does very little to explain much of its plot. In the very beginning, it kind of drags things on. And then also in the very beginning, there's like a lot of just really insane shit happening. I don't know. I'm not really that invested in any of the characters or what's even going on in High Rise Invasion. But that's the difference in that what I see from Man Wonderland. From the very beginning, I care a whole lot about Ganta. He is the main character. He is somebody that I have so much pity towards. It's kind of pathetic. Honestly, Ganta is the bitch of the anime. I mean, I guess people talk about that being Shinji, but I honestly feel like it's Ganta. At least starting off, it's Ganta. And so, anyway, Ganta is basically on trial for the murder of all of his classmates, and we as the audience knows that it was not him who did it, because at the very first episode, it kind of drops you into what the hell happened, and we're sitting there like, that's not Ganta, he did not do that. But obviously, like, he is the only survivor in a classroom full of beheaded people, and, you know, basically mutilated, and he is the only survivor. So of course, you know, trial by default, you have to be the killer in that case. So Ganta gets sent to like a prison ward, and basically he is basically a prisoner of whatever they have going on there. You have to basically have these different points to earn food or to survive. You know, it kind of explains it as you watch the anime. I don't want to spoil too many things, but overall, the next biggest plot of it is that you have to participate in these games in order to keep winning points for your survival. So Ganta, as we all know, is not someone who is a violent person. When he gets dropped into this place, he's basically crying and he's just like, I did not do it, why am I being put here? Anyway, he participates in these games, and that's where the anime picks up. Like, by the second or third episode, you should have already been invested. So honestly, like, if you're gonna go and watch this one, watch at least until episode 3, because I promise you, if you liked it from the first episode to episode 3, you're going to continue to like it. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, there is a secondary character. So pretty, she's got a lot of mystery behind her from the very beginning. You're just kind of like, why is she here? What is she doing here? And you're kind of like invested in who she is and why she's so close to Ganta. The story, of course, goes on to explain what her background is to him, and it's really interesting once he gets into there. There is a certain character in there who has a catchphrase where he says dead center, and I love him. For some reason, like, something about his whole character and his atmosphere and the way he carries himself and his philosophy is just really interesting. I just really enjoy it. Another pro is that I really do like how the abilities are set up in this anime. Like, Ganta does not just start off kind of knowing what he's doing. He has to kind of build up to, oh, this is how this works. And it feels kind of like realistic. Like, honestly, To be honest, like the reason why I like this anime so much too is that it feels like a world that you can be dropped in, like me as an average person, and I can just start using these powers that these people have because it feels realistic. That's just how I feel. I feel like if you already made it that far, episode 3 into this anime, you're going to love it. I just started off with the pros of what this anime is, but it also has some cons. One of the cons, of course, is that it's not finished, so you guys already know about that. The second con is that basically with it not being finished, there are parts in the anime that it completely just bomb rushes through it. If you were to go back and read the manga, you would see that there are so many things that they either completely glossed over or they rushed through. And it's whenever you read the manga, you really understand how much material and substance you're missing. Like at the very end of the season that they obviously didn't finish, they introduced a character who doesn't come until way later. And in the middle of the seasons, they actually glossed over a bunch of characters who were introduced in the very beginning, but I don't know if the studio got word ahead of time that they were going to be canceled soon, or if they didn't have enough views or something was going on, because there is no reason why none of those characters were mentioned, but a character who was not mentioned until very much later into the manga was brought in at the end of like episode 11 or 12. And then they just, after that, there's no other material when it comes to anime. So I have a feeling that they probably knew about their downfall coming on because it doesn't explain why none of those characters who are relevant to the plot were not introduced. So those are pretty much the cons that I have with the anime. There's not too many. Dead Man Wonderland were still around to this day, or if it were to be released either last year or this year, I promise you would have dominated the chart. Because there are these animes these days that I don't feel I can hold a candle to Dead Man Wonderland. I really don't. Like, I'm not as invested in those. Death Parade or whatever it's called, I honestly could care less about it. They had too many characters or too many abilities and too many things going on. I'm not invested in nobody. I'm not invested in what they're doing. I'm not invested in that world. And like I mentioned already, High Rise Invasion already had its own issues. So I just feel like Dead Man Wonderland could have came through and it could have actually changed the game for a lot of these animes. It would have made y'all feel a lot better what's coming out these days and not just some piss poor bullshit coming through, because I feel like a lot of these things that they're pulling is just doesn't have any substance. Nobody cares who's asking for these. Like, y'all are wasting your time animating like how many isekais we got this year, how many isekais did we get last year. That's what I mean. Like, if they had their focus into these animes that were not given justice when they had the chance, they could have really redeemed themselves. Dead Man Wonderland is produced from a studio that basically went bankrupt in the middle of their season. So that's probably why y'all don't know about it, or if y'all haven't seen it yet, then that's probably #1 reason why y'all haven't watched it, because just as you need to be aware, it is not finished. And the fortunate news is that it's got a manga that I honestly think that if you guys were into reading manga, then I think that you would enjoy it. Anyway, check it out if you guys want to. That's just one of my first suggestions. Moving on to my second suggestion. Suggestion is going to be Gangsta. First of all, Gangsta has one of the most prolific characters that I could think of. So a lot of the times when people think of like a main character, they think of people who do not have disabilities, for one. So Gangsta, when they came out, they had a main character who actually has a disability where he is deaf. And so I was intrigued by that at first, but that's not all that his character is. As you watch the anime, you actually learn more about his background, and it's pretty interesting, especially with the character that he's paired to. Like, they're basically, I want to say they're like assassins, or they go out and they do pretty dirty jobs, you know, but they're like owned by the government. They are like legitimately like government dogs. I think in the anime they refer to them as that. They wear even dog tags to kind of identify them. So, but them two put together is like a pair that you did not know that you needed until you got. And so I really do appreciate the dynamic of those two. I appreciate the backstory and how it all comes together. I do also think that Gangsta holds a candle to many of the other animes that are out there, because not very many of those these days have the substance that I'm looking for. Back before COVID existed, you used to be able to walk into a Barnes & Noble and pick up a manga and then just kind of read it. So before I even really got a chance to finish Gangsta some years back, I did walk into Barnes & Noble and I had picked up a legitimate copy of Gangsta. I had no idea that it was missing as much as it was from the manga. So I do recommend reading the manga as opposed to watching the anime, but I feel like the anime has like a really good fight scenes. Some things just flow better than it does in the manga. There are some scenes they cut away for a reason. Like, there is a really pretty character. She is so gorgeous. She is beautiful. But there are so many manga panels where it's just her standing in one place for like 3 pages. And it's just like kind of changing the angle of how she's looking at something, but it doesn't need to be there. The anime kind of like chops that in half and just says, okay, here's a pretty picture of her standing here. she looks good. That's all you gotta know. So, but that's like the cons that I would say about it. But another one of those animes that the studio kind of made halfway through, and then I guess at the end it didn't have enough budget or didn't have enough viewers to really have it finish it out. So that is one big con. And the second biggest con is that there are parts of the anime that are missing most of its substance because it is adapted from a manga, obviously. But in some aspects, it just feels as though they just kind of did whatever they wanted with the plot. So that I feel like is some issues. But the pros, like I mentioned, is that like the character having a disability, you don't expect that from these mangas these days, or they make it like super apparent that that's all that their character is centered around. No. His disability is not a disadvantage. That's just a disability that he has. But honestly, his character comes through in other ways because his disability adds to his character. And that's something that I really do like and appreciate from that. I personally like the main trio because they're the ones that we're invested the most in, but they do have some background characters who, once we learn who they are, when they come into play and where their roles fit, they're okay. I mean, they're interesting people, but either way, Gangsta still remains on my list because I feel as though if it were given justice and it were to come out in this day and age, it would dominate the charts. So that's why Gangsta made it on this list, but I'm pretty sure if you haven't already seen it, then you probably will be seeing it soon because some other YouTuber has mentioned it or brought it up to you guys before. So, but yeah, like I mentioned, that's my second recommendation that I just feel like it was an anime that came way too soon and it was not appreciated back in its time. So check out Gangsta if you have the chance, and then of course go and check out its manga because like I mentioned, it's missing a lot of material that you guys are not going to get ever from the anime as opposed to its manga. And also because One Girl is so fucking hot, I really can't take my eyes off of her. So look at all them 3 panels that she's got because it's honestly kind of worth it in my opinion.
When you're done playing grab ass, you guys lock and load. Your target killed 23 people in 5 minutes. She's vicious.
My next recommendation is Elfin Lead, or Lead, however you pronounce it, but I've always said Elfin Lead. So just to kind of also like give a disclaimer, I typically love gore. I typically like things that are gory, brutal, violent, all of that kind of stuff. I can handle most of it. Some people can't, so that's not something that you're really that into. I definitely recommend skipping this anime, but if you are somebody who's okay or, you know, willing to watch this, then yes, Elfin Lead is definitely one that I recommend wholeheartedly. Elfin Lead is about a character named Lucy. She breaks out of a prison that she's being held not captive, but she's being held in. Like, she's got like solitary confinement. She's got like prison guards on her 24/7, but she does break out and it's in a pretty gruesome way. I actually watched Elfin Lead before I should have. I was 13 years old when I saw this anime. I had watched it right behind Angel Beats. They're not related in any kind of aspect, but I did watch them back to back. So Elfin Lead scared me. As a teenager, it kind of got to me in a way that I was just like, I was not used to seeing that kind of stuff in anime. Like, I had grew up on One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z. Like, I had never seen anything like this before. I had not watched any kind of horror anime. This was the first one of its genre to really kind of shock me. And I was sitting there like, did I really just see that girl just decapitate that man and she's naked too? Like, what am I looking at? But I enjoyed it. I really did. Because in the end of the anime, I was just kind of like, everything, all the directions that it went, I was not expecting it to be the direction that it did go. One of the cons that I would say is that there is this pedophilic kind of man. Like, back in this day and age, whenever anime was first coming out, there were animes that obviously centered around, like, I guess you can call these girls lollies, you know, girls who are like your typical female that doesn't really oppose authority, or she listens to everything that you say because she doesn't know much about the world already. Another good example would be like Chobits. Chobits is exactly like that too, but Chobits it's got some substance. I'm just gonna put that out there. But anyway, back to Elfin Lead. So there is a main character who I think just kind of has like pedophilic vibes, and that's because Lucy there's no age determined for her. She is obviously like at least 15 to 18. I think definitely younger than 18. But the main character who we're kind of behind, it's a male character. He's, I think, in his like early or middle 20s. So it's kind of weird how his attraction to her, and then also most of the time he interacts with her is she's naked. So it is addressed in the anime that, you know, he doesn't want to look at her whenever she is naked, but it obviously draws attention to it. So it kind of makes you seem like, okay, well, they're pointing this out for a reason. But it is a little disturbing in some aspects. Like, it's kind of creepy, I will be honest. That's one of the things I don't like about it, because Lucy herself, like, her persona that she has in the very beginning, like when it's not the same persona that's in the whole anime. She does have two sides to her. The side to her that you're mostly familiar with or going to be familiar with, it doesn't actually communicate. It just says meow, mew. Like, that is the name that she is given, is Mew, because she doesn't actually communicate. Her second persona is the one that does communicate. So I do like that persona because she seems to have more sense compared to Mew. Anyway, so I have to just give that disclaimer that I don't like that creepiness of it. I don't like that aspect of it. It's just really kind of concerning. But that being said, I still think it ages very well. I really do. Like, I don't think that that's an issue for you to not watch it to this day. It's just something that I wanted to point out, that it is present in this anime. It is definitely an anime that I recommend for you people who like horror and sci-fi, as I mentioned in the beginning. It's not much about it that I would change. I mean, even the animation was pretty stellar. Like, I really do feel like the animation was already ahead of its time back then. So I don't feel like if that were updated, it would have like brought in a more, like a bigger audience. I feel like it's very little that it could have did to make it relevant to this day. Like, probably change up the music in some aspects, probably make it a little bit longer than what it was, probably make Lucy, I guess, a little older than what she is, but that's really all about it. Like, I mean, aesthetically, anime works. It works as it is. It just came out in a time period where people like me were too young to really understand it, too young to really get a hold of this anime, too young to have even been watching stuff like this. That is really the only problem, is that it just came out too soon. So that's why it's on this list. But I do recommend it, like I said. So at the end of the day, if you ever go back home and you want to just watch something like Elfin Lead, however you want to pronounce it, is definitely worth a watch. I feel like it's something that people don't really talk about these days. It's definitely mentioned in the animes that people talk about, like best horror and all that. It's usually in that category. So if you typically like that kind of stuff, you're going to find Elfin Lead in there. So, but that's just something I wanted to bring up. If it were to be released now, I feel like it would dominate the charts, especially if it had come out during like the Halloween season. Girl, hell yes, it would have been up there in them charts. I'm serious. Like, if I had never seen it back like 10 years ago, because I'm 25 right now, like if I had seen it like not 10 years ago, I would have definitely watched it now. That's just me being honest. So anyway, that's one I recommend. Check it out if you want. I don't know if it has a manga. I have not picked up a manga if it has. But if it does, maybe it's worth a read too. But that is one that I don't remember or recall reading at least. But hey, if you like it and you do read it, let me know in the comments what it's like. Okay? Thank you.
Hey, nobody told you to stop, Calico. Give me that off.
Who's a filthy little pig? You are! Piggy!
And my last recommendation is probably one that you guys have either already seen or you've heard about. And honestly, if you've already seen and heard about it, then you're already on the right track. But this one is 91 Days. I personally loves 91 Days from beginning to end. Like, honestly, I have tried my best to contain my excitement and to not spoil it for you guys. I have not even given very many synopsis on the animes that are on this list, and that's because I don't do that. I just tell y'all what is good to watch and what I recommend, but I can't do synopsis because I'm really bad at spoiling. I get too excited, I'll tell you the whole damn plot. So let me just be honest, 91 Days needs to be on your list. That I feel like it came too soon. I feel like it either came too soon or it did not have the justice it deserved. It did not have the audience it deserved. But 91 Days reminds me a lot of, if you like stuff like Durarara or Bakano, those kind of animes, 91 Days kind of fits in the same exact category. But just to give you guys sort of like a general overview or like a rundown, it is about a character that's on a revenge plot. I'm going to tell you that right now. It is a character who is on a revenge journey. So that is something that you need to understand going into this anime. A lot of people don't like that kind of stuff, and if that's you, then that's okay. But I just want that to be something I start off with, because there are people who watch this anime and expect it to go in a different route than what it does. And no, from the very beginning, it's telling you this is a story about revenge. So that being said, everything about 91 Days is worth a watch. I honestly can't find a single fault in it that you wouldn't want to watch this. Now, one of the things I will warn you about, or that you should be aware of, is at the end of each episode, watch after the credits. Just trust me on it. Just watch after the credits, because the one time that I did, which was the very first episode, I actually only finished it because it ended in such a stark way that I couldn't believe it. I was just like, was that the end of the episode? And then the credits came and I was just like, Okay, so I sat there for like a full minute or two, and then I saw that they have more at the end, and it actually led into the next episode. Like without me seeing the end of the first episode, like the end, like after the credits, I would have had missing context in the second episode. So I just want y'all guys to be aware of that. You need to watch till the very end, like after the credits on each episode, because I'm telling you, you're going to need that information following the next episode. So I think it's got a good music score. It's got great characters. Like, there are not many people in anime that I can list out, but I love every single one of the characters in this anime. I mean, there are some characters that I really feel like I should not have loved as much as I did. And that's what I mean, is that this anime, just like Baccano, it gives you the perspective of both your protagonist and your antagonist, and it makes you like them both. It makes you understand who they are from their own perspectives. Like, you're able to put yourself into their shoes and be like, I see why you did what you did now. Or, you didn't have a choice. You were a part of that lifestyle from the beginning. Like, you understand them better. And it actually makes it hard to dislike them. So, but in general, like I said, the anime from beginning to end is definitely worth the watch. If you don't do nothing else with your life, watch 91 Days. Watch it, love it, and then try to hold your excitement when you try to tell someone else about it. Because I'm telling you, if you're anything like me, you're gonna be spoiling the whole damn anime. Because that's what I almost did to half my friends, and I had to cut back and be like, don't you do it. Don't you tell them nothing else, because you're gonna spoil it, and then I ain't gonna want to watch it now. I mean, they probably would, because I mean, I give like really good detailed explanations about things, but I feel like this is an anime you have to experience on your own. I cannot, for the life of me, tell you about this anime and not be able to spoil it. So anyway, moving on, I just feel like it should be on this list, because if it's not as popular as it should be, then it needs to be. I mean, but in general, like, I feel like I think it is a more recent anime than the others that I mentioned. It's not like 10 years old or anything like that. I think it came out in like the mid 20s, like I want to say like 2015 or 16 or something like that. Like, it is pretty recent, so it's not like a really old anime. But I really feel like its audience kind of like fell through. I just kind of felt like it came during a time where most people probably are not aware of this one, or if they are, they didn't watch it. And so, but I feel like it needs to be on this list, because if it came too soon, then it came too soon. Because if I feel like if it had come out now, it would also be dominating the charts. I feel like that too. I mean, right now the charts are being dominated by like shonen or isekai, but I feel like 91 Days would probably hold its own. So if you do nothing else with your life, like I'm telling you, watch 91 Days. You're going to love it. And if you don't, then you can hate on me for it. You can tell me, I really hated that anime, but I promise you're probably not going to say that. But if you do, I can handle it. Like, you know, everyone's got different opinions, but I feel like that is definitely an opinion that I should have. And I will die on a hill with how much I love 91 Days. There will come a day where I talk about that in full length, but for now, it's an anime recommendation that I make for you guys. It's definitely something to check out. I don't know if it has a manga. It's not a manga that I picked up. I feel like it's one of those that's actually completely original. I'm pretty sure that it is. Like, they just had this concept and they came together with it. But if it has a manga and you read it, then let me know what it's like, because I don't know if I can go back to reading a manga after watching the anime, because there are so many things that I already have the answer to that I don't know if the manga is going to like deliver in the same way the anime did. But if you happen to read it, or if you do both, then just let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the manga more than the anime. And that'd be something that I definitely myself would check out in that case.
Yeah. Just a dream.
So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I have been gone for a while, so I appreciate all of you guys who tuned in to watch it. Things to look out for in the future is me making more videos that are somewhat either like this or similar to. I have a lot of categories that I really do plan to cover, mostly analysis things. I do like talking about character depths. I have some Naruto material coming to you guys soon. I have Boruto material coming to you guys soon. I know that you guys probably found my channel on how much I hate Boruto, and that still stands. I still have the same opinion. So look forward to those videos coming later. I want to do stuff also where I go back and I watch old animes, like Hunter x Hunter, for example, the 1999 version, and I compare it to the 2011 version. You know, just kind of showing you guys the difference in all the things that they're missing, that you missed from the 1999 over to the 2011. I want to do stuff like that. I kind of want to talk about characters in depth, like Might Guy from Naruto. He's gonna get his, I'm telling you, he's gonna get his, I'm gonna rail him, and you guys are probably gonna hate me, but I'm gonna get into stuff like that later on too. My content and you're interested in seeing all of those things, please hit the subscribe button or at least like this video, because I really would appreciate it. I'm gonna do better about releasing videos on time, you know, as my, you know, YouTube sort of builds up. This is a good buffer for me because this was a passion project. This video today was a long time coming. Like, I have had the script for this ready since 2017, and I was like, I need to make this video soon. But I couldn't figure out when. I couldn't figure out when I was gonna have the passion or the time. But here I am. I now have the time and the passion. So I'm doing it for you guys, and I love it. I like every minute of this. So yeah, just stay tuned. You guys are my my lovelies. I'm just really proud of myself for getting this far. I'm proud that you guys are still on this journey with me. So yeah, at the end of the day, you just stay golden, okay? And I love you guys, and I'll touch base with you guys soon. Other than that, stay safe. Be good. Just be good humans, all right? Looking forward to seeing you guys next time. You guys take care. Thanks. Bye.